What's up guys, NepentheZ here and welcome to my first non-pre-recorded video since Gamescom. We'll be uploading this video super late tonight, probably around 11:30, maybe even midnight on the main channel. The thumbnail is probably FIFA 19 news. I actually had that thumbnail made up for a couple of weeks ago and my graphics guy isn't around at the moment, so I'm just using that because we will be talking about FIFA 19 today. Got quite a lot to get through. First and foremost, thank you guys for the incredible support whilst I was away at Gamescom. It was just amazing. Obviously, I had pre-recorded a whole bunch of draft videos, and generally pre-recorded stuff doesn't do great, but you guys have shown immense support to me over this past week, and the videos have done better than I could ever have imagined, so thank you for that. I've got a few things to get through today. Two of the main things is going to be a new tournament system that I'm going to just test out this week. So we're gonna get to and through that, and then I also want to talk about my FIFA 19 experience. But first of all, Gamescom was amazing. Thank you so much to Facebook Gaming for taking me and a lot of the other Facebook creators. It was absolutely amazing to meet once again so many content creators, not just FIFA, but just so many in general, to see faces that I don't usually see, that I just talk to but don't actually get to meet in person is amazing. And also I was blown away by the KSI versus Logan Paul fight. I know there was a lot of controversy on Twitter. A lot of people thought it was rigged for a second fight. They had already contracted a second fight for early next year. If you think that fight was rigged, me personally, it was a great fight. I loved it. I know a lot of people have asked my opinion on it. I thought the whole card was fantastic generally. I thought Deji showed some phenomenal heart. I thought Scarce as well. He just reminded me of that episode of Simpsons where Homer Simpson's just getting punched like 1 billion times by the guy. And then the guy ends up just wearing himself out and Homer Simpson hits him with one punch. Sadly, Scarce lost the fight. But it was just a great all-round entertainment spectacle. And, there was a lot of people complaining about spending the money on it and being, upset with the entertainment value they got. I thought it was phenomenal. So credit to everybody involved in the KSI vs Logan Paul fight. I think a draw was a fair result. I had it 2-2 after 4 rounds. I had Logan with the first 2 rounds, JJ with the second 2 rounds. I had JJ with the 6th round as well. For me, the only round that was even semi-debatable was the 5th round. From whichever angle you could have looked at it, it could have been a draw, could have been JJ's round, could have been Logan's round. It was given to Logan by 2 of the 3 judges, hence the majority draw. And it was given as a draw by the 3rd judge, hence why JJ got 1 extra point. But I thought it was just from everyone, from the commentators to the presenters, thought it was brilliant. So 2 things to talk about. First and foremost, FIFA 19. I guess, what do I think of FIFA 19 is the question that always comes up. And I didn't play much of it. I played the beta a little bit. Not too much because the gameplay in the beta, this is something I think people need to kind of grasp a little bit. The gameplay in the beta, it is a beta, right? It is not a AAA finished, polished title. Not that I think FIFA necessarily comes out as a AAA finished, polished title. Otherwise, there'll be no need for updates. But it is a beta, and it's for testing, it's for finding problems and speaking about them and so on and so forth. Now, I don't necessarily agree with the way EA do it. They don't, it's only UK and US, it's for just randomly selected people instead of an open source. And I think those 2 are just mistakes anyway, because you want to stress test servers, you want to stress test game modes, you want to find all the little niggly bugs that are in the game that you just can't really find until a mass amount of people jump on your game. So I don't necessarily agree with how they pick who can play on the beta and who can't. But I played the beta for a couple of games, and I thoroughly enjoyed timed shooting. And I know a lot of people think that the server issues are going to be an issue with timed shooting. That won't necessarily be as much an issue as you think. But also, when I spoke to Corey at Gamescom, he said that it actually doesn't make any difference because it's how long your button inputs are between each other and then how long that ping takes to go to the server and come back. So in essence, delay won't actually cause any issues with time shooting. For me personally, I thought time shooting was great. I got to have a couple of games of FIFA at the Facebook booth, but it was only against the AI because there was only 1 controller plugged in. But I did play it on the most difficult difficulty and had a good experience with that. And then I also played a game against Tobias Gaming, and that was a really fun experience for me. there's a few things from my very limited time on the game that I can say. For me personally, time finishing is fantastic. I think it's going to be a super utilized feature. I tweeted this out whilst I was at Gamescom. What I loved about time finishing is it just opened up the way you can score a goal. You know, in FIFA 18, I would go as far as saying like 80%, maybe even more of my goals are just low-driven shots, and it's really, really linear, and it's really boring, and it just doesn't give an entertainment level to the game. I also do think that EA switched timed shooting to double tapping circle or B and switched low drivens to L1, R1 for the reason that people are complaining about it for. Because it's more difficult to have your muscle memory go, oh, I need a low driven shot, let me just do that and shoot. I think it's there by design because it's very difficult to reduce the impactfulness of the low driven shot, and so by just switching the button controls, it's going to cause a lot of people just stop using it, which will make it less impactful. So I kind of get that. I personally think that EA should either reduce the effectiveness or the efficiency of the shots in another manner, or I think that they should give all goalkeepers the save with feet trait to just make the shots less effective. Because let's be real, the saves with feet trait is a super important feature to have on a goalkeeper. Like, you look at David De Gea, you look at Ter Stegen, Farman, Begovic, 4 goalkeepers that have the saves with feet trait that were probably the most full used goalkeepers all year without any shadow of a doubt. And when you come up against them and you hit a low driven, you go, why'd I do that? He's got saves with feet trait. So why not just give all goalkeepers that animation to be able to save the shot type? For me, that's the better workaround. I don't know why EA didn't do that necessarily. But yeah, switching those around I think is smart because it's going to force people to have to relearn the low driven, and it might, could potentially, but probably not long term, would reduce it. But what I liked about the time shots was the ability to score headers and volleys from ridiculous angles and positions if you time the finish right. I do believe that people that master time finishing are going to have a great time in the game, unless it's just not competitive in FUT Champs and FUT Rivals. So one of my concerns is that it's going to be a gimmick that you use against your mates, or when you're just, in a friendly environment on FIFA rather than in a competitive sense. There's no point having this new amazing shooting mechanic if everybody just resorts straight back to low drivens in competitive play because it's the most efficient way to score. That would suck. If we can actually find a way to put the new shooting techniques into competitive play, that would be amazing. The 50-50 duels I thought were brilliant. I tell you there's something, man. So many of the complaints that we've had throughout this year, just through naturally doing it, is when you tackle someone, after tackling someone, the words, oh, it's gone straight back to him, fell out of my mouth and out of your mouth probably so many times. I don't think we're going to see that much this year, unless they dramatically change the game early on again, which I really hope they don't, because I think the strength battles, or whatever they're called, I thought it was brilliant. I was able to, after making tackles, I was retaining the ball so much more, and I was actually putting in tackles from positions where we couldn't last year. So a few times I would be behind somebody shielding the ball, which, as we've known and hated through years gone past, can be an overpowered mechanic. And when pressing the tackle button, I literally just put my foot between the legs, roll the ball backwards, and then walk away with the ball. And I thought that was brilliant. So yeah, I really like the tackling, the 50-50 battles, the time shooting. The gameplay felt smooth. I don't really know how different the gameplay on the beta was to what I played at Gamescom, but what I do know is the game that I played at Gamescom was thoroughly enjoyable. But once again, it was thoroughly enjoyable against the AI and against a YouTuber in a just non-competitive setting. How we're going to experience this game during the first week of FUT Rivals and the first week of Weekend League, when everybody is just sweating their balls out for the wins, that I don't know. I can't speak to that. I hope we give it enough time to actually figure out the game before then and don't make any dramatic changes. But that's where we're at with that. So all in all, I had positive experiences with FIFA this week. I hope I got a lot to hope for the game. However, I'm pretty sad that there is once again no spectator mode. There is no co-op mode in Ultimate Team unless somebody sat in the same room with you on the same console. And all of the new kickoff stuff is just offline as well. So you can't play that new kickoff game against your pal when he's at home and you're at home. It's all offline stuff. It's you against somebody on a console, and I think that sucks as well. I think it's a great game mode that could really have been utilised a little better online. It does seem like, from what I've seen and what I've heard, although can't confirm or deny this because I don't have actual information, but it does seem like what I've heard and what I've seen, career mode and pro clubs are pretty much untouched. Now that sucks. For me personally, I love pro clubs. I really, really wish they'll do something to it. But again, I did have some conversations with Corey and with Zaro, and it's one of those sad things where I'm not a game changer, right? I'm not on EA's good books. I'm not in with EA, but I'm not at liberty to talk about the things that we talked about because of, you know, just professional courtesy, essentially, you know. But all I'll say is this, which is what I said on Twitter. Corey and Zara haven't been at EA for long, and haven't, you know, Corey had just got into EA at the level he's in last Gamescom, and Zara only joined midway through FIFA 19. Just give these guys some time to do what they want to do. I know how passionate they are for the game. I know what they want the best for the game, and I know it's not as easy as just put it in. You know, we was told a few things. What I would like to just ask of the game changers, for any game changer that watches this, ask the questions that are akin to what I'm saying here, and get a way for EA to allow you to give an answer to the communities that watch you or that are just out there, so that they can all know the things that I know and that you know, as to why it can't just be like let's get that in career mode or let's get that in pro clubs, because there's very valid reasons, and it pains me that the community don't know the reasons, and I'm not at liberty to say the reasons, and I'm not part of the Game Changers network. So I just ask you, Game Changers, get the right answers that you can give back to your community to let them know what we know. That's what I ask of you. Now, with that being said, we finish on a new tournament system that I'm going to be working on. Initially, just one test for this week, but if it goes well and if I can secure long-term sponsorships and partnerships, something that I would love to push on into FIFA 19. And that is, it's very, very similar to many regards of kind of like Fortnite Friday and the Summer Skirmish, kind of like mixed and mushed together. Somebody said on Twitter, I talked about this months ago when I was involved in Fortnite Friday, and I never really did anything about it. But this week, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get 20 content creators. It will eventually open up to more than that, but we're just going to start with 20 content creators. And I'm going to be putting up a $2,000 prize pool of my own money for these content creators to play FIFA. And it's going to work a little differently to going head-to-head, because I think head-to-head just creates a really competitive, negative, toxic atmosphere in FIFA, and that's not what I want the tournament to be about. I want the tournament to be a super positive environment, and I also want the tournament to be a position where you don't have to be the best player in the world to actually be able to have a chance of winning money. So the way we're going to do it is there will be 20 people, first through sixth will get a prize. I'll explain how you win points right now, but then we'll also give a prize to the best goal of the tournament, which will be voted for by you guys. The most goals scored in a game, the most goals scored overall, the most clean sheets kept, and I was going to do biggest upset, but we won't be playing against each other. I think there's going to be like five or so categories. So what we'll do is we'll do, for the winner of the 5 individual categories, most points, most goals in a game, most clean sheets, and best goal. So those 5 categories, we'll give $100 to each of the winners of those, and then there'll be $1,500 split between the top 6, maybe the top 8. We'll see how it goes. I'll try and figure out a fair way on points. And the way you attain points is through playing in Division 1 only, 3 points for a win and 1 point for a goal, and it's that simple. So the idea is to have these 20 content creators, much like in Fortnite, so a certain point in time on a certain day, they will get to play their 5 games, and that's how many games they'll have. And once they start that 5 games, it's the next 5 games, no matter what, are the 5 games that count, and that's how they'll accumulate their points. So the reason why it will be open only to content creators first is because they will have to stream their games. So we're going to have 20 people all at once streaming their games in Division 1, and that's another prerequisite. It has to be in Division 1. Otherwise, it just makes it a little unfair. If somebody steams in Division 10 and just spanks someone like 20-0, it's just going to be a bit silly. And if it doesn't work out right, or if it's not fair, or if it seems like there's some issues, you know, some teething issues, we will change that going forwards. But for the first week, that's how it's going to run. It's hopefully just going to be a lot of fun, because it's going to be the sort of thing where even if you've lost the game, so you're out on points, you can still get the most goals in a tournament or the most goals in a game, or you could score the best goal and still make some money. And I think that's something that the prizes in the current FIFA tournaments and events just don't have. It's who can be the sweatiest, most mechanical robot that wins the game. And that doesn't promote good, fun FIFA, in my personal opinion. Now, we're also going to add a couple of extra rules in. And the rules are going to be as follows. There will only be allowed 2 SBC cards, a maximum of 3 icons, which kind of doesn't really matter too much anyway, because we're also going to have a limit of 250,000 coins per team. So once I get the 20 creators, we'll figure out a way to make sure it's all fair and above board. But yeah, you're not just going to see everyone with the super duper meta team of the season icon, team of the year teams, because there is going to be a budget limit per team. And maybe next time it'll be 100,000 coins budget, and maybe the next time it'll be a 2 million coin budget. So we'll constantly see developing teams and changing teams. And then the people will have to use that same starting 11 and 3 subs, or if they want to waste, you know, more money on more subs, they're more than welcome to do that. But basically, they've got to put together their starting 18 from 250,000 coins, and it'll be interesting to see the kind of teams they're going to come up with. So I am going to pick some, obviously, 20 content creators. It will range in how big and small they are. Of course, in terms of for publicity, I'm going to want a fair few big dudes in there. So people like Castro, Nick, if they want to get involved, A9 Skills, Bateson, if they want to get involved, I'll get them involved. But I also really want to get a whole bunch of the smaller content creators in. Definitely want to get Rated R Hugo in, Cali SCG, Buck Army. Want to get those guys in as well, if they want to get involved. Just to help, A, bring these guys up a little bit, but also B, to offer them a potential chance of making some good money that they might not be making right now. So hopefully it'll be a lot of fun. I am open to suggestions from anyone that thinks there is something glaringly wrong in this, or that will go horribly wrong, or that will be super unfair to one or more than one particular parties. Absolutely open to suggestion for that. But that is the idea, basically. So this is going to be the end of the video, guys. Just wanted to catch up with you. Again, thank you so much for the support. This week, I can't wait to get back to making FIFA 18 videos. How crazy does that sound? We're literally weeks away now. We're under a month away from FIFA 19. We're going to just do loads more drafts going forwards, guys, all for the rest of the 3 weeks. If there's FIFA 19 user information, it will be a FIFA 19 video. If there's not, it'll be a draft video. I'm looking forward to it, guys. Thank you again for being absolutely amazing, and I will see you next time. I'm out. Peace.